Hello and welcome back to Euro Football Daily, where today we are running through the 10 clubs doing intelligent squad overhauls this summer. Let's get into it. 10. Roma. We were in full agreement with @UmbaYamaClan's suggestion of Roma on Twitter. Although they only finished 1 point ahead of Fonseca's 2021 tally with Mourinho in 21-22, their Conference League triumph, the club's first trophy in 14 years, ensured the Giallorossi went into this summer with a positive mindset. They managed to bring in €21 million for two of last season's loanees Lopez and Under, as well as offload Santon and loan out Brian Reynolds. The only slightly puzzling decision involved Mkhitaryan, whose 11 league goal contributions proved useful to a Roma side in which Abraham and Pellegrini were the only players to score over 5 league goals. But in his place has come Paulo Dybala. 5 years younger than the Armenian, he signed on a free until 2025, and will bring a winning mentality, having won 12 trophies during his time in Turin, and serious quality, having averaged a goal or an assist every 139 league minutes last term, 8 minutes fewer than Abraham. Factor in the arrival of Lille right-back Celik, Celik and Matic to provide competition, and this has been a very impressive summer by Roma, who have made a €24 million profit at the time of writing. 9. Fenerbache. Winners of 28 top-flight titles, a Turkish record, it's fair to say that recent years haven't been kind to Fenerbahce. They've won just one of the last 10 Super Leagues, twice dropping out of the top 4, and even though 21-22 saw them finish second, their best since 2017-18, they still ended up a distant 8 points behind Trabzonspor. In their hour of need, they have turned to former Benfica and Flamengo boss Jorge Jesus, who has set about revamping their squad. Ozil and Tufan have departed to Başakşehir and Hull respectively, whilst former LAFC winger Diego Rossi's 6 goals and 9 assists last term have persuaded Fener to make his move permanent for just under €6 million, €15 million below his transfermarkt valuation. He'll be joined at the club by former Dortmund player Emre Mor and Flamengo defensive stalwart Willian Arão, whilst PSV's Bruma and Josh King have arrived on loan. Under a combustible coach at a volatile club, this could all end in disaster, but for a cost of just over €7 million, it's definitely worth the risk, as Conor Murphy 1990 was right to point out on Twitter. 8. Southampton. When Sport Republic bought Chinese businessman Zhao Shisheng's 80% stake in Southampton in January 2022, the belief was that they'd supplement the club's world-renowned academy with smart, low-cost pickups with a high sell-on value. And so it has proved this summer. The Saints released veterans Fraser Forster and Shane Long, and have targeted young, hungry players with a point to prove. The highly rated Man City duo Lavia and Bazzuno have arrived for a combined €27 million, the latter shooting to fame after saving a Cristiano Ronaldo penalty in a World Cup qualifier in October 2021. They have been followed by Joe Aribo, who provided 19 goals and assists last term for Rangers, and Armel Bello Kotchap, one of the Bundesliga's most promising emerging centre-backs, whose 5.3 defensive actions and 1.2 shots blocked per 90 at Bochum last term ranked in the top 10% of centre-backs in Europe. They look slightly short up front, but if they can sign an additional forward, we back them to improve on their 40-point tally next term. 7. Monaco. As @Sean15 McKenzie brought to our attention on Twitter, it's easy to argue that Monaco have won the Ligue 1 transfer window. PSG are yet to make any major moves and are struggling to offload their deadwood. Marseille's inability to retain Saliba saw their coach depart, whilst Rennes and Lens have lost key players. Monaco have too, but you can't argue that they didn't make the most of it, with the initial €80 million deal for Chouameni making him the second most expensive midfielder of all time behind Pogba. And after winning 9 of their final 10 league games under Philippe Clement, interest in their stars was expected, but so far they've managed to keep hold of Ben Yedder, Diop, Badiashile and Disasi. Not only that, but they have added Minamino and Mbolo, 2 players who will add to Ligue 1's 4th best attack, with Minamino's 10 goals in 24 games last term, an impressive tally given he only played the full 90 on 8 occasions, and Mbolo recovering from a slow start to net 7 in his final 11 league games. We'll be watching with interest this term. 6. Rangers. Whilst their Europa League run will live long in the memory, Rangers had work to do this summer. After leading for all but 3 of their first 23 game weeks, 3 draws and 2 defeats in their final 15 games saw them finish 4 points behind Celtic, with a -21 goal difference on their old firm rivals. This summer has seen their third most used player, Joe Aribo, depart for a potential bargain €7.6 million fee, and he's been followed out the door by Calvin Bassey. The free signing from Leicester's academy only ever made 65 appearances for the club, but Ajax have forked out €24 million, €8 million more than their previous record departure, to bring him to Amsterdam. In their place, 11-cap Welshman Rabbi Matondo has been signed from Schalke, experienced centre-half John Souttar has arrived from Hearts, Ben Davies from Liverpool, and Tom Lawrence, who has contributed at least 13 league goals in 4 of the last 6 championship campaigns, has made the move north of the border. With Celtic's business getting off to a slowish start, we believe it is Rangers coming off the back of their first full pre-season under Van Bronckhorst that could see the biggest upturn. 5. Borussia Dortmund. Look, selling Erling Haaland was far from ideal for Borussia Dortmund. Even last year, in a season in which the Norwegian superstar missed 10 league games, he still ended up being directly involved in 34% of their league goals, with his 30 goal contributions top only 5 players in Europe's top 5 leagues. But BVB have wasted little time trying to replace his output, with Adeyemi and Haller signed for €65 million, just €1 million more than Man City paid for Haaland. They haven't stopped there though, bringing in Süle and Schlotterbeck to replace Akanji and Hummels, and Cologne's Salah Özcan, who average over 5 tackles and interceptions per 90 last term, who they're hoping will provide better protection to a defence that conceded 15 more league goals than Bayern, and 17 in 8 European games. With Edin Terzic saying recently that their squad wasn't complete, we wouldn't be surprised if Dortmund renewed their interest in Gladbach's Rami Bensebaini, whose versatility and quality will make a difference to their troubled left flank. If Haller recovers from his devastating tumour diagnosis, we back Dortmund to put up a better challenge in 22-23. 4. Nottingham Forest. We know how difficult it is to stay up as a newly promoted side, let alone one who has come up through the playoffs, with just 3 of the last 8 winners of the Wembley showpiece managing to survive. Nottingham Forest though, as at Addy_1199 brought to our attention, given it their best shot. They lost playoff hero Bryce Samba to high-flying Lens, but replaced him with Dean Henderson, who has saved 5.5 more goals than XG predicted across his 49 Premier League games to date. Not to mention 5 highly rated defenders in Williams, who seems overpriced at €90 million, Bianconi, Toffolo, who will be joined at the club by former Huddersfield teammate O'Brien, Niakate and Omar Richards. The average age of the 5 of them is just under 24, suggesting that even if they do go down, they should retain or even increase their value. We're excited about the prospect of watching new signing Awoniyi in the Premier League. 21-22 was very much a breakout campaign for the 24-year-old Nigerian, but his 15 Bundesliga goals for Union Berlin was only topped by 5 players in Germany, and if he can go some way to replicating his 0.6 expected goals per 90 from last term, more than Harry Kane, Forest might have a chance. Oh, and to top it off, they've only gone and beaten West Ham to Jesse Lingard's signature, signing him to reported £115,000 per week wages, so that's 11 new signings, including a former World Cup star this summer. Let's see how it goes. 3. Lazio. 21-22 was a fairly underwhelming campaign for Maurizio Sarri's Lazio. Immobile might have hit his customary 20 league goals, but they took only 4 points out of a possible 24 against Italy's top 4 sides, and their 64 points was their second lowest tally of the last 6 seasons. But they haven't let the now yearly speculation around Milinkovic-Savic distract them, bringing in a host of new players. Luis Maximiliano will likely be their new number 1 after the departures of Reina and Strakosha, and will be looking to replicate his 21-22 form, where he saved over 5 more goals than XG predicted at Granada, 9th in Europe. With 35-year-old Lucas Leiva departing after 5 excellent years in Rome, Sarri wasted little time in signing Shakhtar's Marcos Antonio, with the 22-year-old Brazilian showing promise in last season's Champions League, completing 95% of his passes, second only to John Stones. With Hellas duo Zaccagni and Casale arriving, not to mention Lazio fan Romagnoli on a free transfer, the 2-time Italian champions have given themselves a great chance of challenging for top 4 in 22-23. 2. Leeds. When you employ a new manager, it's a sensible idea to support him in the market by signing players that he's familiar with or that fits his system, and Leeds have certainly done that with Jesse Marsch. Having paid the price for an underwhelming 2021 summer window that saw James and Firpo as their only major arrivals, a string of injuries to key players left Leeds perilously close to relegation. They may have lost Rafinha and Phillips, but in recouping an initial €113 million, they certainly maximised their earnings. Knowing that they needed to better protect an injury-prone and fragile defence that conceded 79 goals last term, the second worst in the division, Marsch has brought in Rocker and Adams, who averaged 25 and 23 pressures respectively last term, figures topped only by Click at Ellen Road. Whilst they will likely miss out on Di Catalare to Milan, the arrivals of the promising trio Aronson, Christensen and Sinistera, with an average age of just under 23, show that Leeds have learned from the errors of their ways. We'd expect an improvement on their 17th place finish. 1. Bayern Munich. Losing Robert Lewandowski wasn't in Bayern's plans going into this summer. And why would it be? After all, this is a player who scored at least 40 goals in each of the last 7 seasons and played a crucial role in De Rotten's last 8 title triumphs. But given the circumstances, to be entering next season with forward options of Mane, Sane, Coman, Musiala, Müller and a newly renewed Gnabry is far from a disaster, and their strengthening in other areas deserves respect. Gravenberch and Mazraoui were signed for a combined €19.5 million, €2 million less than the club received for bit part players Omar Richards and Roca, whilst De Ligt with his 234 appearances for Ajax and Juve and a further 39 for the Netherlands by the age of 22 adds quality and experience to their centre-back ranks. With Konrad Laimer expected to follow, Nagelsmann has managed to improve his defensive and midfield options, whilst Mane with his 14.7 pressures per 90 compared to his Polish predecessor's 9.7 seems better suited to his manager's high-intensity front foot tactics. Once again, only a fool would bet against them for the Bundesliga title. So guys, that was our rundown of the 10 smartest rebuilds this summer. What did you guys think of the list? And did we miss anyone out? Let me know in the comments down below. If you've enjoyed this video, please remember to like it, and why don't you go check out yesterday's Continental Club, and I'll catch you next time.